Anthony had stayed. He'd already wrapped for the day, and he stayed to help me get back to it. And I will never forget that. That is teamwork.
Hello and welcome to the Awardist. I'm Kristen Baldwin from Entertainment Weekly, and I'm thrilled to be joined by Ted Lasso star Hannah Waddingham. Welcome, Hannah, and thanks for joining us.
Hello, lovely lady.
Let's start with Rebecca's arc. It's a great arc. She's pretty much sort of the villain when you meet her, but then she evolves so much by the end, you're really rooting for her. I read that initially you were a little worried that viewers would hate you.
Yeah, well, not that they would hate me, but that they would think that they had the measure of her very quickly and zone out.
Right.
It was more that I just thought, oh no, they're just going to think that she's the ice queen that wants to trash the team. How could you be so horrible to Ted? And just think, I'll enjoy the other characters. But because the writing is so clever, even by the end of Ep 1, you're already going, oh, whoa, okay, hold on.
Like it or not, Richmond are changing the way we do things. And from now on, that way is the Lasso way.
Hey, look, this car's got an invisible steering wheel.
Before you got the show, I read that you were looking to find a project that would allow you to stay in London, closer to your family. How surprising was it when a comedy starring American star Jason Sudeikis came your way?
The weirdest thing about it was when I went and did the chemistry read, I still didn't know enough about it to know that it was where it was actually going to be shot. I thought, well, there's every chance because of Jason and his kids, maybe they'll shoot it nearer there. And I said, so where is it actually being shot? And he went, Richmond? And I went, Richmond in Surrey? 20 minutes from my house, that Richmond. And then I was like, the bit was between my teeth, and I was like, I am having this part. Honestly, this is no word of a lie. About 9 months or a year previously, I'd been having a bit of a crappy time, and I went and stood out in my garden, and I thanked the universe for everything that I have in my life so far. And I said, but if I could bother you for something that would really help me out a lot as a single mum, if there's any way I could be so particular, I mean, literally almost verbatim, I was like, could I have something that means I can play several different things in one scene, and that doesn't always show that really tall women are harridans and vile and aggressive and horrible. Something maybe that's funny and something that I could pour my heart into, and something that will look after me and my little girl in real life. Thank you very much. And then,
you absolutely manifested this show.
I did. I should have done some kind of dance.
Wow. I mean, that's a scary power to have. Good for you.
I mean, it was crazy. I've never done it so much and meant it so much and been so specific and
it worked. So, the show is obviously about a men's football team, but there's this great female friendship, obviously, between Rebecca and Keeley, who is played by Juno Temple. How would you describe their relationship and how it evolves over the season?
Surprising, really. I don't think Keeley or Rebecca have ever had another female in their lives that is so polar opposite, but so utterly completes them.
Yeah.
Unwittingly. It's rather beautiful how it kind of dribbles into existence. I particularly loved the scene where they're on Rebecca's sofa and Keeley kicks off her shoes, and at first you see Rebecca kind of looking at her like, oh my God, make yourself at home. And then by the end of it, because Rebecca has shared about herself and Keeley has responded by saying, well, God, if I looked like that, I wouldn't hide under a bushel. There is a moment in that where Rebecca realises that Keeley is a warts and all person. You know, when she puts the cactus down, says, a bit like you. And I remember thinking, that is brilliant, because Rebecca will never have had, I don't think, a woman in her life, certainly of a different generation, which they most definitely are, being absolutely just warts and all with her and loving her anyway. And she finds a new confidant, I think, in that very scene. And funnily enough, Juno and I are exactly that. You know, she's in her early 30s. I'm in my mid 40s. Yeah, straight away, it was literally like clunk, done.
And you guys had never worked together before? Had
never
met?
Together, never spoken to each other, never set eyes on each other ever.
And what was your first meeting like?
She went, hi. And I went, hi. Honestly, it was that simple.
So we do get little bits of information about what Rebecca's life was like before she took ownership of AFC Richmond. But beyond that, did you come up with any backstory yourself that you were imagining her life was like?
Yeah, I did. And one of the things really freaked me out because the show didn't really touch on it again. I decided for myself that being the age she is, 46 like me, she would have met, we worked out that if she'd had 12 years of relationship with Rupert, she would have met him when she was kind of maybe like 31, but married at 33. And I decided that because it wasn't written in that they had children, I decided that maybe it was a conversation that they had had. This was like the main thrust for me that I said to Jason. I said, can we at least be on the same page, even if it's not touched upon, that she had always wanted children. Mm-hmm. Rupert had just said it wasn't for him. And so she had to make that life choice, as so many people do, whether to stick with the person or go for a child. That very much informed me about her froideur with people in general, that this is something that she's then missed the boat.
Yes.
Probably.
Yeah.
And so she doesn't want to let anyone in because she's dealing with that. So when we then came to episode 9, and then there's the section where Rupert says, we're having a baby. When I read it, honestly, my jaw nearly hit the floor.
Yeah.
Because I thought it adds such another element, the fact that I have already been playing that without being told that. And so when we're getting into the bit about him saying, and Anthony Head was so brilliant the way he did it, saying, no, I did want children. I just didn't want... honestly, it winded me.
Well, and that's one of the things that's so interesting about Rebecca is, on the surface and in life, she's successful, she's confident, she's a self-assured businesswoman, but you do learn, certainly at the karaoke scene or I believe it's at the gala, you learn that Rupert's really done a number on her self-esteem, like their marriage. And when she says that, it really clicks because you do see that vulnerability in her. So what was that like to play? That seems challenging to kind of balance that, all this stuff is going on inside, but on the outside, she's in charge.
I think because there have been moments in my own life, and I never shy away from talking about them ever in any interview, because I think it's important to show people that you've been through your peaks and troughs yourself. Mm-hmm. And the greatest thing about this job has been that it has allowed me great catharsis from a controlling, verbally abusive relationship that I had, that people looking at me wouldn't think I'd experienced. Mm-hmm. So when it got to those scenes in the gala, when he's saying, very brave choice with the dress and stuff, I've had that in the past. And also the bit outside the gala when Ted comes to find her and she says, everyone in there they all love him and he should be doing the auction because it's just me that he manages to poke.
Right.
She says the bit about, eat this, wear that, and I listened. That monologue that Jason was tweaking right up to the last minute informed me more than anything else about where I needed to take Rebecca, because that's deep-seated damage that nobody can see.
Yes.
And even though she's a great businesswoman, and even though me in real life, I'm very focused on my career, there have been times when, thank God, I had the focus on my career because everything else was flailing. My ability to understand Rebecca, I could feel her rippling through my bloodstream. And I'm really glad that the writers have continued to give her ups and downs.
That man, I used to think his blunt honesty was noble rather than what it really is, which is just the cruelest way of hiding his own insecurities. He'd say, wear this, eat that. And I listened. So now I'm alone. I'm alone, Ted, just like he said I would be if I left.
One of Rebecca's biggest moments, of course, is in episode 7 when she busts out this amazing singing voice at karaoke. When did you first learn that you would be singing on the show?
Pretty much when I got the script for Ep 7. And I said, so why is the football club owner singing? And Jason said, why not?
All right.
And then he got serious with me and he said, because I was complaining about the song choice, I was like, as a singer, I've avoided this song in concert since it came out. All over the world, I'm happy to do any other song, but I was always like, no. I don't want to sing Let It Go. I don't want to sing Let It Go because, one, everyone does it in auditions, and two, it's a beast. So, no, thank you.
Yes.
And he said, he was really cool. He was like, okay, stroking his Ted Tash as usual. If you can go and find me a song that's more perfect, in the Venn diagram of where we are in the show, in the episode, for your character, for my character, for your reference to your goddaughter, for your reference to your friend, then off you pop. And I was like, fine, I will. And I went off to my trailer and was thinking, what am I going to do? And of course I couldn't find one. But I did make a deal with him. I was just like, but can it not outstay its welcome? Because she is a football club owner. She's not a singer. So that's a fine line for me to try and find and tread anyway.
Right.
And he said, don't worry about it. I get what you're saying. You don't want to look like, look, this is me singing.
Yes.
So it was good that the brilliant juxtaposition, of course, he had it all mapped out already, which is so annoying. He always knows what he's talking about with this.
Right.
And you get the verse and the chorus, and then you're out because then you're following Ted's journey into his anxiety attack. So, and the most amazing thing for me was that the two writers of Let It Go contacted me and said that they loved it and that's how they imagined it.
Oh my gosh! What?
The musical theatre girl was just insane.
Beyond the singing, what would you say was the most challenging scene for you over the course of the season to get right?
The part of that scene, continuing on from what we were saying earlier about the baby scene with Rupert.
Yes.
The continuation on from that, walking into Ted's office and saying it was me, it was all me. Because I think there's a fine line between being maudlin and self-absorbed, and you could easily overplay that. And so I was acutely aware. I wanted to feel like she was purging poison.
Yes.
Had been rotting her system. I think she thought that Ted was going to say, you're an awful human being, I'm out of here. And she would have thought, yes, rightly so. I was acutely aware of wanting to get the tone right so that it allowed Jason then to pick up and take Ted where he needed to go. I worry that I will never in my career get, the scene when the funniness of the scene when she's trying to confess to Ted.
Yes.
Then he's rewinding out of the scene, then Rupert coming in, all of that, then turning on my heels and walking downstairs and going through the locker room and all of that into that. And then Ted, that whole thing feels like a river to me.
Yeah.
And seeing all of that piece together, which we shot on different days, of course.
Of course.
And then the coverage of Anthony and the coverage of myself at different times. And Anthony had stayed when he didn't need to. When I turn on my heels and go to walk down to Ted, he'd already been cleared for the day. He'd already wrapped for the day, and he stayed to help me get back to it. And I will never forget that. That is teamwork.
How would you sort of obliquely tease Rebecca's journey in season 2?
What I will say is that my main concern was that she was suddenly going to be all sorted, all sweetness and light in a way, and with no ups and downs. And I was thinking, I hope that doesn't happen. We're only meant to be like five months on. And of course, the writer's room have treated her with the absolute love that they did in season 1. And I had nothing to worry about. And she ambles through various things that are thrown at her, both good and bad, in the usual kind of some days elegant, some days not so elegant fashion. And I can't wait to start shooting season 3.
Oh my gosh, exciting. Well, it's been a joy talking to you as per usual. So thank you so much. And I look forward, I cannot wait to see the new season this summer.
Neither can I. I'm going to be like that.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, lovely.